Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Now in ENC, a new segment here at WNCT that we're doing sort of in place of our 1:30 update. We're going to be talking about specific topics related to Eastern North Carolina, relevant topics going on here in the East, and bringing on special guests to discuss those topics with us. So today I am joined by Anna Romiak. Hello,
Good
hello.
morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing wonderful. Would you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, explain a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Again, my name's Anna Romiak. I am a broker owner with United Real Estate. I started as an agent in Pitt County with United Real Estate East Carolina. After a couple of years of being a buyer agent, I transitioned into being a team lead. I have one of the largest teams in residential real estate sales in Pitt County. I did that for about a year. Shortly after that, the beginning of 2020, pre-COVID, right before COVID hit, I acquired two franchises of United Real Estate in New Bern, United Real Estate Coastal Rivers, and in Wilmington, United Real Estate Coastal Carolina.
Awesome. Well, we are super happy to have you join us for this conversation. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. And we'll go ahead and get right into it. So, what is the current state of the housing market right now in Eastern North Carolina? What is it looking like?
So I wanted to give you an example of what's happening in the three different counties that I'm working in. So we have an idea, so everybody knows. Of course, home sale prices are going up, interest rates are down, supply and demand has caused a decrease in interest rates, but also an increase in lumber costs. So the cost of new construction is significantly rising, and we are in a very strong market. In Pitt County, our first quarter sales volume increased 7.4% over the first quarter of 2020. March sales volume was 1.3% higher than March of 2020. Pending sales at the beginning of April actually increased 55.4% from April of 2020. There's only about zero point 0.6 months of inventory currently on the market, so that is literally nothing available for buyers. That's definitely a seller's market,
Mm-hmm.
and zero point 0.5 months of new construction inventory in the market. In Craven County, first quarter sales increased 32.3% over the first quarter of 2020. March sales volume was 47.2% higher than March of 2020. Pending sales at the beginning of April increased 70.7% from April of 2020. That's
Wow.
crazy. There are 1.2 months of inventory currently on the market, so a little bit more than Pitt County, and 3.6 months of new construction inventory on the market. So that is definitely still a seller's market. And in New Hanover, down in Wilmington area, first quarter sales volume increased 15.6% from first quarter of 2020. March sales volume was 21.9% higher than March of 2020. Pending sales at the beginning of April increased 42% from
Mm-hmm.
April of 2020. Zero point 0.7 months of inventory currently on the market and 1.3 months of new construction. So all in all, when you look at all three of them, I was quite surprised to find that Craven County is just it's really rocking it out over there in the New Bern area, but definitely a seller's market in all three of them.
Definitely. So that was one of my questions, is it a buyer or a seller's market? So you're saying it's definitely a seller's market right here, right now in the East.
It's been a seller's market. It's actually a seller's market all over the United States and
Mm.
definitely in Eastern North Carolina. I don't know if anybody's seen any of the reports, and actually forget the source of it, but we had three of the top cities in North Carolina that people wanted to move to. Greenville,
Mm.
North Carolina was number one, and Raleigh and Wilmington both made that list of the top 10.
Definitely. And something I wanted to mention, I'm going to go ahead and pull up this image right here. The Wall
Sure.
Street Journal did their housing market, and for as of April of 2021, excuse me, Greenville, North Carolina is ranked at 28. From what you've been seeing in the market, would you say that's an accurate description of where our state is, where the area we are is in relation to the housing market.
You mean number 28 in the US or number 28 in sales in the state
In the
or?
US, yeah,
In the
28 in the
US, yes, I
US.
definitely believe that. We get a lot of transplants. A lot of people are coming in for major projects and new companies opening in the area. And this is definitely what I'm hearing. So I'm not surprised at all. And definitely looking at the shortage and still being an agent that's still selling and listing in the area. Some of the agents, that the amount of offers we're getting on listings is unbelievable. The last listing I put on the market, I got 19 offers with
Wow.
considerable amounts over, and one of another top agent in Pitt County actually had got the most offers she's ever seen in her whole career. 17 years of being an agent, she actually had 31 offers on one home. So
Wow.
definitely makes sense.
Definitely. And something else I kind of want to talk about, you kind of mentioned it in that last answer, but it seems like, especially in coastal areas, I mean, houses are not staying on the market for very long whatsoever. They are just being snapped up like that. And like you said, a lot of people are paying way over asking price for these homes in order to get them. Is that an accurate observation?
Absolutely. I found myself actually bidding on a home last week here in Wilmington and being emotionally involved myself. I found myself going 35,000 over asking price, and I'm glad that I ended up pulling out of the offer. It'll be a great learning experience in that certain subdivision to see what happens. I really haven't had anything that hasn't appraised, but we are looking at percentage increases over the year in excess of 10%. With everybody being so mobile now and moving and being internet savvy and things being done online, you have a lot of investors buying coastal properties and doing a lot of Airbnb. So yes, definitely with the shortage in the market is driving against supply and demand, which drives up our prices.
Definitely. And of course, one of the biggest questions, of course, that's been asked all year in relation to really any topic is, how has the pandemic affected this? How has the pandemic affected the housing market over the past year?
It actually really hasn't. It's going to be interesting to see that if we have those checks and balances in place, to see that the bubble doesn't burst like it did in 2007, 2008. And foreclosures hitting the market. It's driving prices up. Interest rates were down because, of course, supply and demand. People were getting a lot of stipends. They were getting a lot of unemployment. And then you found a lot of families really looking at their values and what they wanted in life. So what it caused is, during the pandemic, people were so isolated that they start missing their families. So people started shifting all over the US to be back with people, to find, be back with their individuals and their loved ones that they cared about. So that, I think, also has increased the sales in real estate all over the US.
Definitely. And, obviously I'm not an expert in real estate. That's why I have you here. So I'm not sure. Are you able to, kind of forecast or predict what the housing market will look like, in the next year, within the next couple months? And if we are able to do that, what are some of the predictions that people are making about what the housing market's going to look like in the next couple months and within the next year?
We do not see any anticipated slowdown. Just like an appraiser were to look at the value on a home, they're going to look at it for today only. They're going
Mm,
to say that this value or, sales price is going to be based off of what we can see today. We don't know what's going to happen with our government. We don't know if another pandemic will hit that will allow that. But as far as if everything continues the way it is now, excuse me, we do not see a slowdown in the market. We see continued prices to increase and rates staying low, at least through the end of the year. After that, you know, what I'm concerned, there is one area of concern, is all the people that did refinance to pay off a lot of debt because they were laid off and they have no equity in their homes, what that's going to cause in the future. But reading some certain sources and statistics, it's not going to cause what we think happen in 2008. So I would really have to say it's shaky, but as far as everybody's looking at right now, we're going to continue to increase, and it's going to continue to be a strong market, at least through the end of 2021. And we may have some of those variables and issues that may happen probably farther along spring into summer of 2022.
Gotcha. Well, that was all the questions that I had for you. Was there any, important information that I didn't ask about that you thought it would be, really pertinent to this conversation and important for people to hear?
I would just say when buying, looking at buying real estate, make sure that you really know what you want to go after, that you have an educated agent. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to me and my team. We want to make sure that you understand what you're doing and that you're not getting so emotionally involved that you're making the wrong decisions. It's that's why a real estate agent, or a broker will always have their position. As many tools as you have and access to information, it's hard when you're not working with a professional that actually sees and sells a lot of homes on the market to help advise you in that. When you're putting due diligence down on homes, which are like fees that are non-refundable that you give to the seller, you really want to make sure that you like the property and you're not doing things or being pushed to do something and getting yourself into a financial burden that you can't get out of in the future. So
definitely. Well, thank you so much, Anna. Again, this is Anna Romiak, and she is an owner and broker with United Real Estate. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us. Thank you. Thank you. And you guys can stay tuned for more segments of Now in ENC. They're going to be released during the early afternoon hours during the weekdays at WNCT. So thank you so much, Anna, again. And thank you guys for joining us for this Now in ENC segment.